Welcome back. As we step into the new year, many of us are looking for realistic ways to lose weight or maintain weight without the stress of a drastic transformation. Joining us now to share some of his wonderful, easy, sustainable tips to lose weight without completely overhauling your diet and routine is registered dietitian-nutritionist Scott Keatley. Scott, welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
Scott, I see you have a lot of healthy stuff there. You got the veggies and you got the fruits there. How did you get started in what you're doing to help others stay healthy?
Well, my origin story is I was living up in East Harlem, and I was going down to 96th Street, and there was a gentleman there who was missing his legs. And one day I asked him about it. I said, what's the deal? I thought, it might be a car accident or something like that. And he said to me, diabetes. And I was shocked by it because I'm on the borderline of one of the most, expensive zip codes in the entire world. And there's a guy here who has this happen to him for something that's very, very preventable.
Yeah.
And so I started working with people in the community and then got my credentials, and now I'm a registered dietitian-nutritionist. It's MyFitnessPal, and they've been nice enough to bring me in, sort of like give me the deep tour of the app, so that way I know what's going on. And probably the best thing is they actually asked my opinion about stuff.
Yeah.
And so some of the things in there are stuff that dietitians and nutritionists from all over the country have sort of fed into, so that way they're doing things as right as you possibly can.
So now, are you still in touch with the person that you saw that got you started? The person that had diabetes? You still see him from time to time?
That individual is pretty transient. No, so I don't live up there anymore. I'm in Brooklyn now, and so it's different people. But I get to see a variety of people in my day to day, and it's always good to help people, especially helping people before it gets to that point.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the things that you could do to set up these healthy eating habits and healthy living habits?
So the first thing that you can do is stop trying to do so much. We get into a bad habit. It's New Year's. We're like throwing the kitchen sink at a problem. It becomes too much. We've got to still live our life that we were living before and make these changes. And so taking a step back, kind of leveling off that energy a little bit, and thinking about stuff that we can do over the long term. Simple changes, small changes that sort of accumulate and build on themselves is key, as well as having appropriate goals. Sometimes we come up with these goals. We're like, I want to lose 100 pounds by next week. And it's like, that's not realistic. We got to look at something realistic. And then it's nice to have that finish line goal, but we need to have something to look forward to before we get there. So saying, okay, I want to, drop 20 pounds of fat, but before I do that, I want to make sure that I'm getting enough fiber, I'm getting enough protein.
You're a strong guy. I don't want to stand next to you.
Sorry, I talk with my hands. It's a problem of being from here.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You got a nice setup there. These things happen, and you can leave it right there if you want. But
there we go. Well,
what about mixing in sleep and eating and exercising?
Well, all of these things are connected, and like I was saying, tracking these things is a key way to go. MyFitnessPal is sort of an intersection of those things. I do tons and tons of exercise, and tracking exercise and food, it not only holds us accountable, but it lets us know how what we've done has impacted our body. We can look back and we can say, well, on Thursday, I only got 2 hours of sleep, and then my diet was not very good, and I feel bad on Saturday. Having that data, having that information can allow us to look back and say, okay, I need to make this change. I need to make this change, so that way I can improve stuff.
Wow, that's a great thing to have there. That's an app that you put together?
It's definitely more than me. Like I said, the nice thing is they do listen to me when I give them some advice on it.
Yeah.
But MyFitnessPal, it's been around for, I want to say about 15 years plus, and it's the largest database of food that's out there. It's bigger than the USDA's. There's 19 million entries there, so that way you can sort of keep track of stuff easily. Hundreds and hundreds of recipes. There's community components, and they're dipping their toe into being able to recognize stuff through photos. So you can take a picture of a meal that you had, and it can help you to put it in, so that way you're as efficient as possible with that. Because logging stuff, like writing stuff down in a notebook from the back of a nutrition label, it's a lot of work.
It is.
So using tools to sort of get you to the place you want to be is always acceptable.
Yeah, I like that. I can use that. Tools you can use. That's one of them right there.
Yes.
So
and
go ahead.
No, one of the nice things about it is, so when you're looking at health and nutrition, a lot of times we think about quantity. So we think about those calories in, calories out. I'm exercising for an hour a day. How many calories did I burn? I'm going and eating. How many calories am I bringing in? But there's so much more than that. We want to look at the quality of your diet as well, because protein matters, fat matters, carbs matter. If you're not getting enough of those, it can cause problems way down the line, or it can just make you feel kind of icky presently. And so having that data at your fingertips, along with stuff like fiber and calcium and iron, can really, really help you to have something solid.
Is this something that can detect what your body really, really needs? Do you have to go get a blood test or anything like that to find out if you're deficient in vitamin D, C, B?
Yeah, for those, you're going to need blood tests. And for some things, there's not even very good blood tests for it. There's some signs and symptoms that you have a deficiency, but to be honest, nutrition deficiencies are kind of hard to tell apart from each other. So if you go to Dr. Google, you might end up down the wrong path. So it's always good to go to the doctor, get the blood test done, so that way you sort of know where you're starting from.
Yeah, diabetes is big in our communities. And some people have type 1 diabetes. They were born with it, and the body doesn't produce any insulin. How about the body that has type 2 diabetes, and it does produce some sort of insulin? And maybe the foods or the diet that they're on is eating up the insulin that they have. What are some of the foods that they can use to try to counter that or help them with it?
Well, so when we're talking about type 2 diabetics, again, you want to make sure when you're dealing with disease states, you want to talk to your team. You want to have a doctor, an endocrinologist. You want to have a dietitian there. You want to get that really good advice from the get-go. Yeah. But something like MyFitnessPal can help you keep track of that. So if you're carb counting, which is a difficult skill to sort of learn, and it's a very, very difficult skill to learn in like a 7-minute doctor visit. You can utilize this app to help you keep a rough estimate of how many carbs you're bringing into your body. And so when your doctor says, well, keep it under 100 or keep it under 75, you can see what you're doing. And what's great is that you can do it ahead of time. So you can look at what you're about to eat. You can put the stuff in, and you can say, whoa, this is going to take me way over my carb limit that I set up with my doctor. And so you can wheel that back a little bit. You can look at the individual components and be like, okay, instead of having white pasta, if you have the whole wheat pasta, it's going to be 10 or 20 less carbs per serving type thing. And that way you're keeping yourself where you need to be. Yeah, very good. Where can our audience go for more information? So for more information, we need to have you on for an hour. Hey, and really dig into what you're doing. I come up to Lehman College pretty frequently. I teach a course there, so if you want me there, I'll come. We can do it. It'll be fun. You got it. But if you're looking for more information, go to the App Store, go to the Google Play Store, download MyFitnessPal, and get started. Scott, thank you so much. Scott Keatley, registered dietitian, nutritionist. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming on. And come back and share more. I will. You got it. All right. We'll take a break. I've got more open coming up next.